What is going on, my people? Good morning. Good morning. As we're rushing back over here and kicking over all of the stuff under our table.
Oh my goodness.
Guys, welcome to the call. Super pumped up for us to talk about something that I think is really near and dear to us, but also something that we have seen our clients lean into and get even more results. And really, they get to just be themselves, right? So if you've ever wondered, like, man, how do I find more clients? What should I post? What can I say to get people to actually sign up, to join me, to take that next step? If so, today's call is for you because we're diving into what real coaches focus on to grow that a lot of new coaches don't really understand and they actually miss. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because when we get into coaching, we think that automatically means we have to become like an entrepreneur or a marketing specialist. And what we have found is it's not about implementing the newest marketing strategy. It's about learning how to think about things differently and deeper, because that's what we do as coaches. So welcome to Modern Leadership Coaching. I am Mark, and she is Teresa, who's kicking over my water before we get started. We help coaches not only develop the confidence and skills they need to make a huge impact in the world, but get them to the point where they are fully booked and they have a new problem, which is how do I hire new people on my team? And by the way, we got you covered there too, because we have really powerful teammates here on the channel that can help you not only grow your business, but get you to a point where you're doing only the things you love to do, which for me is coaching and YouTubing and all that other great stuff. YouTubing.
Wow.
YouTubing. And this is also on Facebook, but I don't really love Facebooking. I don't know. Randall, what's going on, brother? Cheryl is here. Hello, my friend. Lisa's here. Of course, Sandra is here. And Tina, with her smiling face, was here probably 3 weeks ago. I don't see Cynthia yet. Where's Cynthia at? But guys, we're going to dive into the topic at hand today because this really is a really important idea and philosophy that we want to share with you today. And it might reframe the whole thought about like going out and finding people and working with people and doing all that kind of stuff, but doing it in a way that you love, that might be based off of your strength zone instead of trying to force what everybody else is trying to tell you to do.
Yep.
Ready to do that?
Yes.
All right. So you have some questions I think you're going to ask me, right?
Yep.
But really, because we love to pull back the curtain here and be able to ask some of these questions so we can pull some of these details out. Of course, if you guys are in our programs, whether it's the certification, you're part of a success pod, or you're in our coach accelerator. I don't know why my brain just like totally spaced on that. You might have already heard some of these things, but this is actually something that we want to take a little bit deeper because we know that when our clients are going through these and we're helping our clients through it and they see success on the other end, we want to make sure that we share some of that on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. So let's talk about the real trap. Ooh. So this is confusing our identities.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that? Like what that really means to confuse our identities?
Yeah. So, so here's the way I like to think about it. And I encourage you to think about it is when we get on social media or when we get into like building our business, for some reason, what we do is we tend to confuse the identity of who we really are. Mm-hmm. Who are you? You're a coach. But for some reason, we think now we have to become a marketer. And then all of a sudden, we are looking for all the tactical stuff, all the AI stuff, all of the ChatGPT, which I love ChatGPT as long as it's kind of like my version of what it is that I'm going to say. But we think about like, what are all the marketing ways that we can lean into this? Mm-hmm. And we miss the most important thing. And that is that we're not marketers, we're coaches. Mm-hmm. And when we use our skill of coaching on a deeper level, we will attract people who want a coach. Anybody ever gone viral? And then all of a sudden you're either trying to keep up with that or like the people that you actually have on your newsfeed are not the people for you to serve. And it actually takes your time away from doing the things that you want to do. I've had it happen plenty of times with our clients. And then we realize that like, if you show up as a marketer on social media to entertain and to do whatever it is, whatever hat you have on, you're not going to be attracting people who want to coach. You're going to be attracting people who want to be entertained. And when you lean into your identity as a coach, the person that you are, you're there to make an impact. You have a very specific way that you do that. You go deeper, you have conversations, then we can actually figure out how do I do that in the confines of social media, in the confines of meeting people one-on-one or whatever that process looks like for you. But you don't do it as a marketer, you do it as a coach. Now we have a quote here, and I want to call this out. Everybody's been loving the quotes that we've been sharing. This quote is, "You're not a coach because you post like one. You're a coach because you lead like one. Let that sink in. You're not a coach because you post like one. You're a coach because you lead like one. And when you do that, you will attract people who want to be led by you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing, is making sure that you have your right identity, your right hat on when you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Yep. What are your thoughts on that?
I always think about like how we feel like we need to be like the influencer or, all of these different things,
Mhm.
when in reality, focusing and honing in on our coaching skills
Yeah.
is what's going to differentiate us from everybody else.
Yep. And on that topic real quick. So some of you guys know that I reconnected with Chris Downing. He's a Beachbody celebrity trainer. He used to do like Shift Shop, all those incredible programs. And recently I reached out to him because I saw, number one is he popped across my newsfeed. And then one of our clients is like, hey, I think you should reach out to Chris. And really being able to see how he functions as a human. I actually got to get on a call with him, have some conversation with him. Now he's like texting me back and forth and talk about some motivation. I got to say, my workouts have been next level. But what you see is like he leans into his strengths of being a motivational speaker, but also like a fitness trainer that is on another level. He doesn't go into, hey, what can I do to get more likes or views or whatever? He's like in his zone. When you see him showing up, he's talking about motivation, inspiration, getting past the things that you have that are coming up, right? That are opportunities for you to lean into the best version of you. He doesn't come into, hey, like what's the newest, like, whether it's hey girl messages, like putting out this viral video, like doing the dancing and the thing that they were doing. Like it's like he leans into his identity of who he is. And he naturally will attract the people who want that energy and repel the people who don't. And it doesn't mean that that's wrong or he's wrong or those people are wrong. It just means that it's not their cup of tea. But when you lean into your own identity, that's when the game changes. That's when the game changes. By the way, if you are interested, we're doing a special workout. Like he's actually put together a program. I'm kind of like teaming up with him, and we're actually going to take some people in our app through it. If you have not like heard about that yet, jump into our app, send us a message, and we can send you the details of that. I'm super pumped up about that just because he speaks my love language, which is kind of a very motivating, but also a little bit of a push from time to time. And that always gets me like on the next level. So if that's something you're interested in, hit me up. Let me know. All right. Next one.
Awesome. Okay. So let's go into like what real coaches actually focus on. So here's my question to you.
Mm-hmm.
What actually shifted when you started thinking like a real coach? And also kind of like define what a real coach is.
Yeah. So when I started to think like a coach, I'm going to give you a couple different examples of like what actually came up for me. But I started to approach things with my own strength zone in mind, right? And so instead of thinking about like something on the outside, like getting told that I need to do something or following somebody else's script or doing this kind of stuff, I leaned in instead of going out. So a lot of people I find do that is they look outside of themselves for the answers when the answers are always on the inside. I mean, I had a really, really powerful mentor who would always say that, Josh, right? He'd be like, hey, no, you have all of the answers on the inside. But then we go outside and we try to look for all those answers. And sometimes we start implementing those answers. And a lot of times they don't work. And then it makes it, for some reason, we take that and we actually make it mean something bad about us. And it's just that was never supposed to be a part of us. It was a lesson that we had to learn because it's not the right way to do it. So I put together some ideas in terms of like how I do this, but I want to let you know that when you have an identity as a coach, you don't ask yourself how you do it. That's like asking a chicken how it acts like a chicken. It just acts like a chicken. It's what it does. And so when I think about like even the whole idea of coaching, I'm like, it has been ingrained in my system. And this is what we teach in our certification, right? So it's not something you do, it's something that you become. And when you've become that person and you just do it automatically, you don't ask how you do it, right? Now I've sat down and I wrote out a couple different things to give you guys some ideas because sometimes I don't even know when I'm doing it. It just happens automatically. But when you step into that identity, you don't have to fake it. You just get to be yourself and you just get to like lean into your superpowers. So that's what I would say. In terms of some of these different ideas. And by the way, Cheryl, thanks for the fist bump. Boom. What's going on, Laura? Okay, so here's some ideas, right? So the first one having to be with like client patterns over content. Here's what I mean by that. Is like when you're having a conversation with somebody, like let's say the Coach Accelerator. So we had a really powerful call yesterday, right? Where we're talking about like the thing that people tell us is the problem is generally not the problem. We have to ask enough questions to actually find out what the problem is. So she was asking a question related to like, hey, this specific thing that I'm struggling with is finding new people. And what we found, it was actually 3 layers deep. She had an opportunity to find people, but she was backing away from it instead of leaning in. And we would have never known that if we hadn't asked questions. But now that we have that, we now can use that as content to attract people who want that to be done for them. So here's the thing. I find the best content that I have comes from my groups, my programs, my one-on-ones, success pods. When people are like literally there paying me money, they're all in and they're getting results. And I'm like, oh, they're struggling with this? Then this is something that I can talk about. Like if you've seen some of my posts, emails, all that kind of stuff, it's related to the things that I help guide people through inside of the program. Do I give you all of it? No, I don't. I don't give you all of it because I feel like sometimes it has to be personalized for you and what you're going through. But I will share some breadcrumbs around it and I will share some ideas because it will naturally attract people who are like, I need that level of coaching. Because to be honest, most people will think coaching is more mentoring, telling people what to do. She came to me and she's like, hey, I don't know where to find new people. I would have been like, oh, okay, what are you doing right now? What has been working in the past? Have you tried Instagram? Like, tell me about the last stories that you posted. And these are all the wrong questions. It pisses me off when I hear it. I'm like, you're asking the wrong questions. You're not getting deep enough to find the actual thing that's holding her back. And then when we did, I asked everybody on the call, I'm like, hey, did you guys all think that that's where she was going? And they were like, nope. I'm like, me neither, but we actually discovered it ourselves because we were asking powerful questions. But that now creates content that I can bring to the world, right? Think about what that's like versus me just leaning into like a marketing kind of like strategy. Instead, I'm sharing an actual situation that I guided somebody through and they had a breakthrough, right? And that's really the power of using your coaching instead of your marketing. Second one is leading yourself first. Leading yourself first. So as a coach, one of the things that I highly I push it a lot. I mean, if you're through our certification, the entire first month is about leading yourself. It's about getting your health in alignment, getting your family in alignment, getting your business and your career, whatever it is you're doing, like getting yourself to feel like you are crushing it. You're on fire. You're taking action because those are the best people to be able to help inspire other people to do that too. So when you lead yourself first, you have incredible content that you could share because you're coaching yourself. You are proof that your product works because you're using it, right? And it's like this funny thing is like, it's the best marketing is just sharing like what you're doing and how you're getting through it and how you're overcoming it. But guess what that is called? Coaching. That's not marketing. That's coaching. And you coaching and leading yourself really helps create a lot of power in people because they're like, wow, that's powerful that they were able to reframe that or lean into that or learn that lesson and then take that and move forward. And then also plants in them a certain amount of demand, right? When you're doing these things, we teach this inside of the Coach Accelerator, which is what's called creating demand. It's a little bit different than marketing. Marketing is like you're shouting at people. At least that's what I think of it as. Like creating demand is like you're pulling people into you because of what you're talking about, how you're explaining it, how you're sharing and breadcrumbing it. They're like, I need more of this. It's a little different than shouting, right? Shouting can work for people, by the way. And I want to say that like, if marketing is working for you, please keep doing it. If it's not, keep watching this video, okay? Because that's really what it's all about, right? Because if you find something that's working, I want you to lean into it. But if you don't, it's time to try a different strategy, right? So that second one was leading yourself first. And the third one is presence over performance, okay? Presence over performance. I want you to hear this, all right? And that is your presence as a coach, as a human, connecting to the other person, finding out what they're struggling with, not believing the stories and perspectives they're telling themselves as to why they can't get it, and helping them achieve it. That is powerful. That will sell any day of the week. But if you're thinking that your job is to perform, you're thinking your job is to get 1 million views on your reels, you're thinking your job is to like really connect with every single person on the planet, you're going to start to try and perform rather than use your presence, which is what you've like learned to do as a coach, is to give people the gift of your presence. That also generally doesn't happen in a post. That generally happens in a conversation, whether it's a DM, a Zoom call, a phone call. I don't know, do people make phone calls anymore? I don't know. It's like a way of you communicating to someone and getting them to see that you're giving them the time and space and the energy. That's where the power is. So thinking about how can I go and use my presence as a coach over my performance. Now, a lot of our clients are doing this by meeting people one-on-one, by going out to their kids' like softball games and talking to some people in the stands, by going to different events, different places where they can really connect and have that presence with people. And we've seen so many people try to force it over social media and things like that, where they're not actually able to use their greatest skill in the world, which is coaching and presence and being able to like care about people. Like it's just different. It's more of a performance stage than it is the present stage, right? And so when you can ask yourself, like, where could I be more present? What is like an opportunity for me to connect with another human, and doing that, just pour into them. And I guarantee you're going to find more clients than if you're trying to force it by trying to perform, right? And I got to say, like, I've been through all of these different things myself. I'm not one to say that I've never done that. If you go back and you look at some of my stuff early on, it was me trying to perform and then wondering why nobody's showing up. And to be honest, like if you look at my social media now, you'll see it doesn't look like I have a lot of engagement. But I got to tell you, like if you take a look inside of our programs, inside of the whether it's a certification or the Coach Accelerator, the people's lives who are being changed, I feel like we're doing really amazing. And it has nothing to do with how many likes or views I get or how many hearts I get on some of the stuff that I put out there, because we're making real powerful change on the inside, right? And so it's not about that outside. It's about the presence and how you can really connect with people on a deeper level. And I feel like that's what coaches do better than everything. Mm-hmm. But then they don't resort to that when they think about like getting people to get into their program, being able to serve people, being able to, help transform them forever. They jump back into, let me send a message or something like that, mm-hmm. right? Which is like, I know it probably might feel like the less scary thing to do, but like it's also the least connecting thing to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that I've noticed this in our programs, that when we talk about this stuff, I think there's this pressure that is released from the coaches. Like I could see it physically, and I can tell that they were just waiting for permission in a sense to do that, to like do something different that not everybody is willing to do. Because like you said, like it may be scary to put yourself out on social media, but it's also a lot easier than actually going out and like, and not necessarily like finding people, but just making that like personal connection.
Yep. 100%. I mean, you hit on something that was like such a very key point. And that is like, when you see, like, let's say the relief of the people that you're serving of, oh man, I don't have to do all that stuff. That's mm-hmm. not what I have to do. And then you see them go out and start doing different things, and they start mm-hmm. getting different results. And then guess what? Bring it here to you. Mm-hmm. This is what we're here for. We're literally seeing something, seeing how it works, and then bringing it here to you, because we can see the power of what happens when people join a program that's like that. Now, here's the thing, like you're going to find a lot of different programs and things that are out there, and they're going to be like, this is the one way to do it. And I'm going to be honest, like when it comes to like the one way of doing it, it's because that worked for them. And they really do believe this is the way to do it. They're not lying to you. But anytime that I actually coach somebody or I'm having a conversation with somebody and they tell me there's one right, best, only way, I'm like, okay, this is maybe the way that worked for them, but there's never one way like that. And I know we want to like believe that there's one way to do things, but I also know as a human, there's never one way to do things. I've seen people grow $1 million businesses completely polar opposite. They lean into their strengths. I find most of the time that's what actually gets it to work, right? But it does not have to be one specific way. And when you finally get that relief of like, wow, it doesn't have to be that way. Mm-hmm. I could do it this way. Mm-hmm. I got to tell you, your energy changes and you naturally start creating demand. You start pulling people in because mm-hmm. you're like, I don't have to do it like everybody else. Mm-hmm. I mean, why would you want to do it like everybody else, right? Everybody else is already taken, right? Everybody else is already doing themselves way better than you could ever do them, right? So being able to lean into yourself, really, really powerful way.
Yeah, I love that.
All right, last one.
So let's move on to like, how do you know if like you're in the wrong headspace? Okay. So let's say that you're moving along and everything, but like things are not clicking. So like, what are some of like the red flags that come up mm-hmm. that tell you that you're kind of like in that wrong headspace?
Yeah. Okay. So I did write down some red flags here today, but here's what I want to share with you. So all of these red flags, like I want to encourage you, whether it's like jumping on a call with us, we're going to actually open up our calendar so that you guys can jump on if you're struggling with any of these things, or you find that you want some additional help and support with any of these red flags. But ultimately, we want to make sure that you get coaching and help through this, because these are the symptoms. They're not the root cause. Okay. Just like whenever you go to the doctor and you start to look at some of the things that are going on inside of your body, like they are looking for the symptoms, and then you go see a specialist to actually find out like, oh, wow, this is exactly what's going on. This is the actual root of the problem, right? So I'm going to give you some of these symptoms. If any of them hit you and you're like, oh my gosh, like that's with me, I want you to be okay with that, because all of these are symptoms that I've personally gone through, but they also were an opportunity for me to do something different. And when I forced it and I kept trying to do these over and over and over again, that didn't work. But jumping on with a coach, and by the way, we will leave you a link inside of the show notes for you to grab a free spot on what we call a clarity call. It could be that we talk to you and we find that we could actually help you through this. It could be that we don't. Trust me, I got a lot of coaches, because we actually coach coaches and teach them how to coach, that could actually be able to help you. But we want you to like come into a call to actually get the help that you need so you can get unstuck. All right. But here's some of these ways. All right. Number one is you're thinking of your next viral video. You're thinking about your next viral video that you're going to create. So you're like, what can I create? What could I do? What could I say that would get more people to like this post? That is the wrong approach. All right. I'm just going to say, like, you're approaching this in terms of like being a entertainer. You're going to show up a little bit different. All right. So if you're constantly thinking about, okay, what's the next thing that I can do to get a viral video? And you're a coach, we really need to think about that, right? Second is you're waiting for somebody to give you your next move. So you're waiting for a mentor to tell you what to do next, to take the next step. How do you respond to this? Like, we have to, as coaches, we have to be more self-sustaining, and yes, getting some feedback from other people, but being able to not like resort and think that somebody else or some other thing has to tell us what to do. We can get out there and we can do and create some really powerful things because we have coaching, right? We can ask great questions. Next one is you're basing whether people are getting, people are getting your content, like learning and understanding it, with how many likes you get. So if you do a post and you're like, well, this post was good if it got this many likes and it's not good if it got this many likes, we got a little bit of a concern there. Let me give you a perfect example. So one of our incredible clients, her name is Sarah, and she talks a lot about like death and grieving. How many Facebook likes do you think is going to happen from a post talking about death and grieving? Oh, almost zero. Okay. That is not an indicator of how good her posts are. Are there some different tweaks we can take? Absolutely. But when you think about that, like when somebody likes your post, it's going to be like, depending on like, even if I have a post about like, when I was struggling with being a better father, and I talked about like some of the things that I was doing, and I talked about like what I had to lean into in order to become a better father, becoming a part of the Dad Edge team, right? Do you know how many people like that post? Very little, because they didn't want to like it and make it mean something about them, right? So here's the thing. We cannot be tied to those things, especially when it has to do with the specific things that we're talking about when it comes to coaching, right? Next one is you tweak your offer or your niche every 2 weeks, waiting for the engagement to really hit. You're like, you know what? If I talk to these people this week, it's really going to hit. Or if I change up my offer to this, or I change the price in this, or I do this, and you're all focused on the 80% activities, those things that feel like it's moving the business forward, but it's really not. And you're not focused on the things that really move the business forward, right? So if you're that type of person where you're changing niches and offers every 2 weeks, definitely jump on a call with us or find somebody to be able to coach you through that, right? And the last one is you don't feel that you're qualified unless you're constantly getting feedback from social media. If you're waiting to wake up in the morning and say, okay, am I going to have a good day today? Let's go see what my post or my video or my reel did yesterday, or how many responses I got back in the text messages. Hate to break it to you, but you are tying your worth to social media. And guys, I want you to think about this. Do you know why social media was created? It was not created so you could sell your coaching business. That was just something that people added in because they're like, hey, if people are having a conversation, let me interrupt them in their conversation and see if I can sell this thing. And so we're in this space where it's kind of like interruption marketing, right? Where it's like, I want to interrupt what you're doing and talk to you about how to become a better coach, right? And so here's the thing, like when you think about like relying on something like that to tell you your worth, you actually don't come out and share what people really need to hear. And sharing it from a perspective of like, hey, like I was going through this, or I was helping a coach through this, or I was doing this, like, and being able to guide them through that process using your coaching skills, using what you were able to uncover. That's powerful. That's kind of like a social way of like being able to share some of the things that you've been able to go through and how you help other people do that too. And it's a lot it's a lot different than interrupting them to telling them that you have this next thing for them, right? And so when you think about these things, if any of those come up, this is definitely an opportunity for you to get coached. Now, here's the thing, like I said before, like we could give you some ideas in all of these areas, but the truth is everybody is going to be processing each one of these things differently. There's something different that holds us back as humans. And we all know this as coaches because we're our best clients, right? And we don't know what that is until we actually have a conversation. So I'm not going to get you to believe that I'm going to have a YouTube video here that's going to be able to help get to the root of what's actually holding you back. That's why we offer free calls to be able to jump on and to help you, because we all have different pre-programming that's happening in our brains. Last week, inside of our certification, we started to go through this process of being able to show people like how things get planted in here, how to avoid planting new things in here that we don't want, and then how to help your clients like rewire their brain so it's more towards what they want instead of what they don't want. And it takes time. It doesn't take one YouTube video. It doesn't take like one answer. It doesn't take one aha, one session or anything like that. It's the reprogramming of our brain, because that's just how it operates, right? For me, 48 years of all of the beliefs
47.
and thoughts and perspectives, almost 48, 47 years. All of those things have been like ingrained in here, and it's kind of hard to get to the root of them because they try to be tricky and not like let people know about them, because what are people going to think if I think this, right? Yeah. But by jumping on, getting that coaching you need, you can help get to the root of it. And that doesn't just mean me or Teresa, by the way. Like, yes, we are here to help support you, but if you have another coach you're connected to, if you know somebody who's like a powerful coach that you can connect with that will help you get to the root of it and understands how to actually do that, please lean into that, friends, because this is the power of being able to have a coach, getting to the root of it, and then using your coaching power to attract the right people, to pull them towards you, to create that level of demand instead of feeling like you have to put your marketing hat on. So, and of course, if we can do that for you, we're all in. Which does bring up a couple things for me real quick. I know that we are in the process of putting together another success pod. Mm-hmm. So for people who want some additional support when it comes to us being able to work with us in a one-on-one basis, one of the things we've done is for people who want to have one-on-one support but can't necessarily afford it, we put together what's called a success pod program. And what that is we work with 3 to 4 coaches where you can get weekly coaching by me and Teresa in an atmosphere where it's just 3 or 4 of you on a call with us. So if that's ever something you're interested in, still book a clarity call with us, because we want to make sure that it is a good fit. We are not someone who ever like shares a link, gets people to sign up, because we want to make sure this is something that is good for you, because if it's not, we're going to find something that is. So if that's ever something you're interested in, hit us up, let us know. And of course, if you are interested in joining the Chris Downing workout with us, it's going to be really powerful. It's 12 weeks. I think he's offering our group like $100 for all 12 of those weeks. And you get like some free workout programs, but it is an intense-based program. And he is a really powerful leader and motivator. If that's something you want to do, either comment below or shoot me a message and I'll send the details. Sound good?
It's exciting. Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for showing up. I just want to remind you of this. You have this incredible superpower inside of you. Let's use it as often and as in many areas as we possibly can. Please also don't compare other people's superpowers to yours. Like, I am never going to be a Chris Downing. I want to just be the best version of Mark Hildebrand, and vice versa. When we can be the best versions of us and we can team up and we can do this life stuff, this business stuff, this family stuff on an entirely different level with people, that's really where the power is. So don't go comparing yourself to thinking about other people who are ahead of you, any of that stuff, because it's not helpful at all. Just lean into this powerful gift that you've developed, that you've leaned into, and really the person that you've become. And that's truly where your greatest potential is. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for leading from the front. And we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.